What's up with everyone, Paul from Timeless Gaming here, and today we're going to be going over how to beat the Shattered Veil Easter egg. So of course, to start it right off, we're going to go ahead and get into our loadout. First, I was using the Krieg C, the Silverbyte edition of it. Now what we really need on a assault rifle, which I suggest using, is the crossbow attachment. Now you can get this inside of the armory by getting enough XP. I definitely highly recommend it. There is going to be a reason for this later on inside of the boss fight, so definitely get the crossbow. Next, we're going to go ahead and have to use the Aether Shroud. Now for the Aether Shroud, what you want is the augment that gives you 2 Aether Shrouds instead of just 1, in order for you to be able to do a step later on in the Easter egg. Next, for our lethal, we're going to go ahead and grab combat axes. We're going to need this for a later step as well, so definitely make sure that you have that on you just in case. We're going to go ahead head over to our gobblegums. Now you're going to want definitely powder keg or power keg and free fire. Free fire is going to come in handy with the crossbow attachment later on inside of the boss fight, so make sure you have at least those 2 on, especially power keg, because of the fact that we need the Aether Shroud later on in the Easter egg, and you want to be able to make sure that you have one handy as soon as you get ready. Now to go ahead and jump directly into the Easter egg, all we have to do is, once you spawn, is get to the lab. Now the lab is all the way down in the basement of the estate, so we're just going to continue heading on through the main part of the areas. Now in order to get to the lab, we actually have to grab 2 parts in order to get the elevator back up and running. The first one is going to be on the right side inside of the library, all the way over here in the corner on this dead zombie that is lying on the floor. We're going to go ahead and kill him and grab the fuse. Next, we're going to have to go ahead and head to the director's quarters. Now, that's Richtofen's room. Once we're in there, we're going to go ahead and shoot a piece of his computer in order to go ahead and grab the circuit board. So once you head in here, we're going to go ahead and look directly to our left, and right here, we're going to go ahead and shoot it and grab ourselves the circuit board. Once you have the 2 pieces, we're going to head back down to the middle part where the elevator is. Once you get here, we're going to head around to the back side of the elevator, where we're going to go ahead and place the circuit board and the fuse into. Then we're going to head to the front, and we're going to go ahead and hit the button for the elevator. Once you hit the button, a bunch of zombies are going to come rushing out at you, so be ready for them. Just going to go ahead, dispatch them as fast as possible, and then a zip line will spawn inside of it once we hit the button a second time. We're going to go ahead, take the zip line all the way down to the bottom inside of the lab. Once we're in here, we're going to see the giant ball, Samantha, and she will begin to speak to us. And now, all we have to do is wait for round 10 to begin. We have to stay inside of the lab for a certain zombie to spawn, and then we can actually begin the full parts of the Easter egg. Next, once round 10 starts, we're going to wait for a purple-eyed zombie. He's going to also have a name, which is Lab Technician. He only spawns after round 10 and above, so make sure that you're inside of the lab as soon as the round begins, and we're just going to go ahead and wait for him to spawn. He might take a couple of minutes to spawn, so just make sure that you're watching out for him. This is what he looks like. Like I said, he has the purple eyes, his name is Lab Technician, and once you kill the Lab Technician, he's going to go ahead and drop the floppy disk. We're going to go ahead and pick up the floppy disk so that we can begin our first step for getting the ray gun Mark II. We're going to head down the tunnel, and over here in the middle part of the tunnel is going to be a whole bunch of rubble right next to where this truck is. In the middle of it, there's going to be a dead zombie or a dead guy just laying there. We're going to go ahead and grab this Casimir that he's holding. We're going to need that also for another step. So instead of crafting it, we get our free one. Now, inside of the main room where the dinosaur is, we're going to go ahead and head over here to the right, where inside of this room with the stairs on the left-hand side is going to be a desk and a computer. We're going to go ahead and put the floppy disk inside of the computer, and we have to wait for the fax machine to print out a piece of paper. A bunch of vermin are going to spawn inside of the room, so make sure that you take them out as fast as possible because they are deadly and will over-destroy you. Now, once the fax machine is done, there's going to be a certain word that is capitalized inside of it. For me, I got worm. Now, it can be crab, yeti, and I believe and moth. So there's going to be 4 words that it can be. Next, we're going to go ahead, head up to the left side on the top floor into the child's room right over here, right next to where PhD Flopper is. over here is going to be this whiteboard where we're going to actually have to look at to figure out what it is. Now for this, it is going to be a little difficult. For my word, I got worm. So we got to count how many letters are in each one. So as you guys can tell, for W, it was 8. For 0 or for O, it was going to be 5. And then for R and M, it is also 8, 8. Now the code changes every single game, so make sure that you're looking at the clusters. Again, the cluster of letters is what the number is for the passcode. So basically for that is if the W was on the one with the 8, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that is your first number. Next, we're going to go ahead, head back down to the lab where this doppelgast is in here, and we're going to go ahead and put whatever code you got into it. Make sure you're writing this stuff down too, just so you don't forget it. We're going to go ahead, put the code in, and the doppelgast is going to head out. A bunch of exploding zombies are also going to spawn with him, so make sure that you kill the exploding zombies as fast as possible. Once you've killed the doppelgast, he's going to go ahead and drop the severed arm. We're going to go ahead, pick that up, and we're going to head to the other end of the tunnel. Here, we're going to go ahead where the portal is head over here to the right inside of the armory. Once you're inside of the armory, we're going to head to the back end over here, and we're going to go ahead and place the severed arm on the keypad, and we can go ahead and pick up the ray gun Mark II, just like that. Now we can begin to get the upgrades for the ray gun Mark II. The first upgrade that we're going to be doing is the blue one, which is right there where I showed you with the yellow pieces, which is where we're going to have to put the canister once we're done. In order to get the canister, we're going to have to break these blue ice boxes or ice pieces that are all around the map. The first one is right there, right outside of where we just came from the armory. The second one is inside of the greenhouse right up here, right next to where Quick Revive is, on top of the ceiling. The third one is going to be back inside of the estate over here on the left side, right next to where PhD Flopper is and where the child's room was. Right out here, outside of here, we're going to go ahead and shoot the third ice box. And the fourth and final one is going to be back inside of where the main room is. We're going to go ahead, head over to the right, and where we put the floppy disk inside of the computer, it's going to be inside of this room right above where the stairs are. We're going to go ahead, shoot it, and one of these is going to drop an empty canister. For me, it was the fourth and final one. Next, we're going to go ahead and show where the plant seeds are. So one of the plants can spawn right here next to the hedges. The next one can spawn over here right next to the fountain, right next to where Quick Revive is. We're going to have to use a grenade or the crossbow if you have the crossbow attachment on your weapon, or even the ray gun Mark II without any upgrades on it. You can go ahead and shoot the plant and it will drop the seed. That is where our first seed was. Another one can spawn over here at spawn. They can spawn on either side of where I was just looking. The next ones can spawn over here outside of the estate, outside of the main front door. One can spawn over here in this corner where I found one right there. And another one can spawn right next to where the front door is on the left side, right over here in this corner where this plant is also at. The next ones can spawn right out here by where these two trees are next to the arsenal, right next to where Double Tap is. Once you get all 4 plant seeds, we can go ahead and we're going to go ahead, head over here to the greenhouse, and inside of the greenhouse, we're going to go ahead and have to plant the seeds inside of these incubation kind of terminals. We're going to go ahead and put the canister inside of this yellow piece first in order to begin it, and then we can go ahead and begin to start planting these seeds inside. There is 4 for all different seeds. Now, purple-eyed zombies will spawn and try to hit it. If they hit it too many times, it will break it and the seed will pop back out. And then all you have to do is pick it up, end the round, and begin the process again. But the second one is going to be right over here next to where the ammo cache is. The third one is going to be right downstairs, right outside of where Quick Revive is. And the fourth one is going to be inside of the garage barn kind of area. Again, plant the seeds, defend it, and you will be good to go for this step. Once they are all done, after all 4 seeds are done, we can go ahead and grab the toxic canister, and this upgrade is officially 100% done. We're going to head back to spawn over here on where the yellow piece is on the right side, and we're going to go ahead and place the toxic canister inside. You can go ahead and upgrade the ray gun if you want to. It's completely up to you, like I did here. Next, we're going to go ahead and head over to begin our next upgrade. So for this one, we're going to have to head over here to double tap right outside of where the elevator is, and we're going to go ahead and hop down these stairs, and right over here by this window, we're going to use that Casimir that we picked out from the tunnel earlier. We're going to place it right outside. If it does go through the window, it will respawn right back in your inventory, so as long as you get it as close to the window as possible, you are good. Once we do that and the Casimir ends, it's going to go ahead and drop us an empty canister. We're going to go ahead and grab this, and we can begin our next one. We're going to go ahead, head back over to where the hedges are, and we're going to go ahead and place the canister inside. This will spawn an abomination if you're on solo. It will spawn 2 abominations if you are on co-op. You actually have to get them to use their laser thing in order to make the smaller rocks blue. There's one to the left that I just showed, the one that's glowing blue right here, and this third one right over here. Once they are glowing blue, you want the abomination to go ahead and charge into the rock, and it will begin to float. You have to do this with all 3 of these small rocks around this area. Once you're done and they're all floating, the abomination will despawn, and a whole bunch of vermin will begin to spawn and will head towards the center right over here and try to destroy this middle piece. You have to kill all the vermin and stop them from destroying it in order for you to be able to complete this upgrade step. It's pretty simple and pretty easy. It might take a little bit because the vermin are devastating. Once it is finished though, we're going to go ahead, head back to where the yellow piece was, where we put the canister in, and we can go ahead and grab the blue canister from here, which is the explosive canister. Once we grab that, we're going to go ahead, head back down to the lab at the tunnel where the portal is and the armory, and we're going to go ahead and place the explosive canister inside. Again, you can upgrade the ray gun. This is one of the better ones as well. The yellow one is probably the worst one. Once we do that, we actually have to find these white boxes all around the map. Now, there is many places for them to spawn, so just make sure you keep an eye out for all of these boxes. There is that spawn inside of the greenhouse. There's this one by the stairs right outside of the greenhouse. There's this one at the hedge by the rocks. There's this one right outside of the estate. There's this one inside of the library right over here. There is also this one right out here by Elemental Pop, right by the doorway. There's going to be one down here by double tap down the stairs on this side. There's going to be this one right by where the trees were, where we found the plant earlier. There's going to be this one inside of the hallway towards where the kids' room is. Now this is where I found the bomb. Again, one of these cases will have it, so make sure that you guys are checking it. Next, we're going to go ahead and bring the bomb over here to this rubble. We're going to go ahead and place the bomb on it. Once you do that, it'll explode, and you can go down to the secret tunnel area. And now you've unlocked where we can go ahead and begin the 3rd and final upgrade for the Ray Gun Mark II. Now inside of this room, we're going to need 2 reflectors, which we're going to go ahead and pick up first. The first reflector is right out here where PhD Flopper is, and right behind it on the opposite wall is going to be that fountain that we were just by. We're going to go ahead and walk up to the fountain, and we're going to interact with it in order to grab our first reflector. The second fountain that we need is over by Quick Revive, inside of where the greenhouse is. We're going to go ahead, head outside of the back where we had one of the plant seed incubators, and again, right next to where Quick Revive is. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Just run over to the fountain, go ahead, interact with it, and you'll grab your second and final reflector. Now, once we do that, we actually have to go ahead and grab ourselves the canister. Now, the canister is why we needed the combat axes at the beginning of the match. There's 2 combat axes that you can get for free, one by Pack-a-Punch, one over here by Spawn. And we actually have to head back to the lab where there's going to be this tube. Now, it might have an A or a B. Whatever one is the valve that you actually have to open. It changes every single game, so don't think it's concrete. It's going to be A or B. For me, it was B. So basically what you have to do is hit the middle valve right there in order to get it to wherever it's got to go. Always hit the middle valve. So we're going to hit the middle valve. If it's A, you're going to go ahead, hit the middle valve, and then hit the top one for A. If it is B, you're going to do the complete opposite, which is, of course, going to be hit the middle one, and then just go ahead and hit B. I've kept these images on screen a little bit longer so you guys can tell and you guys can look at it so you know exactly what you have to do when it comes to this. Make sure that you're angling the combat axe as good as well, because of the fact that it's going to be a little bit difficult, and if you do miss, you're going to have to craft some more. So make sure that you are at least level 53 in order to craft the combat axes inside of zombies. If not, you're just going to have to kill zombies and hope that they drop some combat axes for you later on, which is very, very difficult and nerve-wracking, especially when it comes to just waiting for combat axes to spawn. Now, once you've gone ahead and done the correct valves that you have to do, again, this is how you do it. You hit the middle one, just like I did right here, and then we're going to go ahead and hit whatever one it is. Again, for me, it was B, so we're going to go ahead and hit B, and the valve will open. Sam will also say something about toxic gas and how she can't smell it, so you know you've done this step completely right if she begins to say that. Next, we're going to go ahead, head back to where the tube is, and we actually have to use an explosive to blow it up. If you have the crossbow on your gun, use the crossbow. If not, go ahead and craft yourself some semtexes, frags, whatever works for you. After, we can go ahead and pick up our third and final empty canister. Now we're going to head back to that tunnel that we were just at, and we're going to go ahead and over here and place the first reflector by that doppelgast statue there, the second one right over here, and we're going to go ahead and place the empty canister inside. Once you do that, we're going to head over to the crystal because it's already going to be facing a doppelgast statue. What you need to do is reflect them to each doppelgast statue. Go ahead and hit the crystal, and once you do that, a doppelgast will spawn. Once you kill the doppelgast, we're going to head back to the first reflector. We're going to go ahead and pick up, or the second reflector, we're going to go ahead and pick up the second reflector, and we're going to head up this little tunnel on the side here, and we're going to place the second one right here. We're going to go ahead, head over to back to the first reflector, hit it once, and then we're going to head back up there because it's going to be reflecting on it, but it's going to be pushing it towards the wall. All you're going to do is head back up here, go ahead and hit the second reflector, and it will start reflecting towards another doppelgast statue. Again, hit the crystal, this doppelgast will spawn, and you can go ahead and kill him. Next, we're going to go ahead, head back to the first reflector and hit it once, and then it will head towards the third and final doppelgast statue. Hit the crystal again, and this doppelgast is actually going to be a little bit more beefier than the other two that we fought. Again, all you have to do is go ahead and kill him, and once you're done doing that, you can go ahead and pick up your third and final canister for the yellow one, which is, or the purple one, which is the light ray gun Mark II upgrade. Next, we're going to have to go ahead and open up this door in order to begin our next steps for opening the portals. We're going to head back to the elevator, and on this desk over here to the right is a sconce that we're going to go ahead and pick up. Head back to the main room, place the sconce on the right side there, and you have to play a game of Simon Says. It's only 3 rounds, and it's pretty straightforward with just 2 objectives that you have to do. So for me, I had the 3 left lights. For my Simon Says, it changes every single game again, so just make sure that you're paying attention and hitting the right Simon Says ones that you need to hit. Once you hit all 3 of them, the door will begin to open and will open up another secret area inside of the map. Next, we're going to go ahead, head down here to the cellar, and you'll see your first painting here. Make sure that you have the blue ray gun when you're doing this. When you have the blue ray gun, you can go ahead and begin the computer section of it, and all you have to do is kill zombies that are spawning. The purple-eyed zombies will spawn, and a portal will eventually open after you've killed enough. Go ahead, hop into the portal, and hop directly back out of the portal so we can begin our next step for the other portals. Next, we need the brain rot attachment onto our gun, and we're going to head over here to the bar. Now, we actually have to go pick up a bell in order for us to do this. Brain rot is needed for a certain type of zombie. Inside of this room, right next to where Elemental Pop is, where all this glass is, we're going to have to break the glass and figure out where the bell is. Now, these are some locations of where the bell can spawn. It can spawn anywhere inside of this room, inside of the glasses, so make sure that you're checking every single one, holding your interact button, and just making sure that you're trying to pick it up as best as possible. For me, I found it over here on this one, and once you get the bell, you can go ahead and head back to the bar. Once you get back over here to the bar, you're going to go ahead and place the bell down on top of it, and now all we have to do is get another round going so that we can begin to brain rot zombies, and we can get our brain rot zombie to hop over the bar. For me, all I did was shoot this one, and once you brain rot the zombie, all you do is hit the bell. Once you hit the bell, the zombie will hop over the bar, and he will take a swig from this flask. Then he will place the flask on top of the bar for you to go ahead and pick up. Once you've picked up the flask, you can go ahead, head back to the blue portal, head inside, and over here on this pedestal, we're going to go ahead and begin our first lockdown. You're going to place the Sentinel artifact down, and the lockdown will begin. Again, make sure you have the blue ray gun. It's the only way to damage these guys. A boss zombie will spawn with a shield on him. You have to use the ray gun for whatever type it is. For this one, it's the blue. You have to use the blue ray gun in order to break his shield in order to actually do damage. Once you've killed him, you're going to head back over here to the Sentinel artifact. It will suck in a soul, and you can go ahead and pick up the Sentinel artifact. And the first one is done. The next one that we're going to do is going to be the purple one, which is the light one. We're going to go ahead, head over here to the elevator and the painting, and interact with the computer once again. Do the same thing that we did for the blue one, which is just to kill the zombies until it overloads and the portal opens for us. We're going to go ahead, hop inside the portal, and on this table over here on the right side is going to be an elixir bottle. You're going to go ahead, pick up the elixir bottle, and then we can head back out of the portal. Once we do that, we're going to head back to spawn, and we actually have to interact with 3 chalices. The first chalice is over here on the right side, right next to where the bridge is, at the bottom of it, and a disciple will spawn. Go ahead, kill the disciple, and you are done with that chalice. Now, when you look back at the chalice, there's going to be red symbols that are going to spawn on top of it. You don't have to worry about these symbols too much, but that means that you have completed this part. The next one is going to be inside of the main room on the top floor, all the way on the back side where the box might spawn. Over here, there's going to be a couple of benches, and on this one bench in particular is going to be our second chalice. Go ahead, interact with the chalice, and another disciple will spawn. We're going to go ahead, kill this disciple just like that, and we are done with the second one. The third one is going to be inside of this winery room, right next to where the elevator is, and right next to where double tap is. Go ahead, interact with that chalice, and kill the third and final disciple. Next, we actually have to head back to the elevator room, and behind the elevator is going to be 3 numbers that have spawned. From left to right is how you're going to read them. So for me, it was 46, 11, and 41. We have to remember this for a safe code. Right next to where depth perception is going to be the safe that's sitting on the floor. Go ahead and input whatever code you got. Again, for me, I got 46, 11, 41. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in. So it's 46 from the left to the right once again. 11, and then go ahead and put in the number 41. And once you put in your numbers, the code will activate and the safe will open. You can go ahead and pick up this carving that we need for our second ritual. Head back to the purple portal, head back to the pedestal inside, place down the Sentinel artifact once again, and it will begin your second lockdown. Now the disciple will spawn right over here at the head of the table. Again, make sure you have the purple ray gun in order for you to be able to beat this boss as well. Again, fight him, do the same thing, break his shield. Once he's done, a soul will get sucked into the Sentinel artifact once again, and we are done with our second part. The third and final one is going to be the yellow upgrade for the ray gun, and we're going to go ahead and pick that up, and we're going to head over to the library. Now, inside of the library is going to be our third and final painting and our third and final computer. Interact with the computer once again, kill the zombies, repeat the process. Once the portal is open, hop inside of the portal for a couple of seconds, then hop right back out of the portal. Now here's why we need Aether Shroud. Right out here outside of the portal on that couch is where you're going to find your first part if it spawns there. The second one is going to be inside of this room on this desk right there, which is going to be the ledger. There is multiple locations for these things to spawn. The third place that you can find one is inside of this fireplace right next to where the elevator is, which is where I found the ID badge. Now, you can also find the audio recording right here on this desk inside of the main room right next to the bar, and right over here inside of this room on this desk for the ledger right there. The next place is a fireplace that's right down here, right next to where Stamina Up is, inside of that green room, and the third and final fireplace that you can find an ID badge is right next to where we picked up the ledger earlier. Once you pick up all 3 of these items, we're going to go ahead, head back to the yellow portal, and right outside of where the portal is on this bookshelf, 3 books have spawned, and we have to hit them in the correct order in order for us to go ahead and open up a secret area once again. Now the order is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be sideways 6, which is going to be for me the middle book right here, as you guys can tell. The next one is going to be the circle with the lines going through it, and the third and final one is going to be the 3 dots right there. Once you do that, this area will open up and you have to go ahead and pick up our next piece, which is the nuclear plant research blueprint report. After, we're going to go ahead, head inside of the yellow portal, place the sentinel artifact down once again, and do our third and final lockdown. This time we will actually have to fight an amalgamation, which will spawn right over here in the middle of the room to our right. Again, use the yellow ray gun in order to break his shield and kill him as fast as possible. Once the soul gets sucked in, the sentinel artifact is fully charged, and you can head back down to the lab to where Samantha is, and you can begin the boss fight right away. Now, at this point, you can go ahead, take some rounds, get yourself as beefed up as possible, and pack-a-punch your weapons. I suggest having the Ray Gun Mark II at least pack-a-punch 2 before you go into this boss fight. Have the blue explosive rounds on the Ray Gun Mark II as well, because it makes it a lot easier, and have your gun as beefed up as possible. I also recommend getting yourself a chopper gunner, because that is going to be very useful and needed for the final phase of the boss fight. Once you're ready, you're going to go ahead, head up here, and place the sentinel artifact down, and you can begin the boss fight. A cutscene will start, and Richtofen and the crew will be inside of a room, and they will have to escape this room. And I won't spoil it for you guys can see it. Once the cutscene ends, though, the boss fight will begin right away. The Z-Rex is devastating. Now, it only has a couple of moves, but it is very fast and very aggressive. What you want to do is shoot it in the glowing eyes, or shoot it in its stomach when it eats the explosive zombies, as you guys just saw there. If you shoot it in the stomach when it eats the explosive zombies, it does like 24,000 damage, which is what you really want to do as much as possible. He only has a couple of attacks, which is, to, of course, to bite, to jump, or to use his tail. So try to stay away from his mouth as much as possible. Try to stay far behind him if you are behind him, so he doesn't use his tail. And if you are too far from him, he will use his jump. Make sure he does not land on you, because it is a one hit down if he does. Now, once you're done with phase 1, he will begin to jump up on this rock. You can actually damage him as soon as possible. As soon as he gets up there, you can damage him as much as possible. But a bunch of zombies will spawn, and he will begin to spew some of this toxic acid around the map. You have to survive for a couple of seconds before he'll actually jump down and begin his next phase. He does this for all 4 phases. Once he drops down, he will become a little bit more aggressive and a little bit faster every single phase. So make sure that you guys are very ready and very prepared for this as well. Again, use the ray gun as much as possible. Shoot him in the stomach when you see that he has the explosive zombies in it, and shoot him in the eyes as much as possible as well, and just try to do as much damage as fast as you can. Phase 3 will begin once he does this roar thing and he kind of looks like Godzilla, and he will jump off of the map once again. Again, survive by killing a couple of zombies and waiting for a couple of seconds until he drops back down into the map. Now, phase 3 is when he becomes really fast and really aggressive. This is probably the hardest phase. Well, phase 3 and 4 are the hardest phases of the boss fight, so just try to stay moving and make sure that you're running as fast as possible and keeping as much distance between you and him as you possibly can. We're going to go ahead and try to do as much damage again into his eyes, to his stomach, to any part of him that you possibly can. I recommend, again, using the ray gun as much as possible. Now, here's where I recommend using the crossbow. When you have the free fire gobblegum, go ahead and pop it, switch to your crossbow, and probably use Aether Shroud like I just did right there. But once you switch to your crossbow, just start unloading rounds into him. You will melt his health like it's nothing. Just boom, boom, boom. And it does so much damage. As you guys can tell, the phase had just started when I did this. I popped the gobblegum right away and started just unloading into him, hitting him anywhere and everywhere that I can inside of his critical points. And we finished phase 3 in mere seconds. That's how amazingly good the free fire and the crossbow is for this boss fight. I highly, highly recommend using this if you're doing this boss fight. Now for phase 4, this is why we had the chopper gunner. We're going to go ahead, pull out the chopper gunner right away, and we're just going to unload into him as much as possible. Try to hit as many critical spots as we can. Try to hit him in the eyes, in the stomach. Now, he will go behind this rock place that you guys just saw. If he does that, he is a little hard to hit, but you can still hit him slightly. But just try to hit him as much as possible when he's not hiding behind the rocks and running around that way. Now, there is no guarantee that you're going to kill him with the chopper gunner, of course, right away. If you don't end up killing him with the chopper gunner here, he will be very, very low health, that you should be able to go ahead and take him out as fast as humanly possible. As you guys can tell, I used the chopper gunner, did not finish him off with it, but I managed to get him to like a sliver of health and just started unloading my ray gun into him as much as possible. Use Aether Shroud if you have to, in order to make sure that you don't die, in order to make sure that you're avoiding him as much as possible. And once you're done killing him, he will begin to dissolve and he will become bone once again, and you have officially finished the Shattered Veil Easter egg just like that. It is an amazing Easter egg. This is an amazing map. This is one of my favorite Black Ops 6 maps, and I think it is actually the best Black Ops 6 map so far. But with that being said, that is how you complete the Shattered Veil Easter egg. There's only a couple of steps. Most of it is basically set up and getting the Ray Gun Mark II upgraded and getting everything ready. And then there's only like 3 steps after that, which is for the portals and doing the lockdowns. And then you are done with this Easter egg. And then it's just worrying about the highly aggressive and deadly boss. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, and remember to stay timeless.